In this video, we're going to talk about collections in Lightroom. So in our previous videos, we talked about the folder structure and how images live in each folder as the physical location for that file. That means that we need to keep it in that folder. If we want to sort these into, our top 60 picks for assignment number 1, I would have to create a new folder and then physically move those files into that other folder. And now my assignment 1 is going to become disjointed and broken up into multiple folders. And in our last demo where we were troubleshooting and working through using the folders and using the Lightroom interface, we moved everything into one folder because it does make for a tidier workflow and file management. So today what we're going to talk about is collections and how we can use collections to designate different or more of our files to be used for other things. So for assignment 1, we're going to create a collection set, and then we're going to have a number of collections and print elements inside of that are going to make up our full assignment. So I'm going to create, the first thing I'm going to create is right below the folders is this collections. Let me just point out that there's smart collections with all of these things that are in there. And those are like collections that you can program to automatically collect things and do things. We're not going to be dealing with any of those. We're going to just be creating our own collections and manually adding our photos to them. So down here, where it says collections, I can click on this little plus sign and you'll see that I have the choice to make a collection, create a smart collection, or create a collection set. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to create a collection set. And it's going to give me the dialog box and it's calling it collection set. I'm going to name it whair_A01 for assignment 1. And I want to make sure that inside of a collection set is not checked. And then I'm going to hit create. And you'll see that right here below Smart Collection, it's added this collection with my name. And there's nothing in it. If I click on that little arrow, there's nothing inside of there. So we'll go back up to our folder. And I've added some ratings and some color labels to these. So let's use that to make the initial selection for what we're going to put into our assignment 1's top 60 photos collection. So I'm going to start with my 2-star or better images. And I can hit Command A or click on the first one and then Shift click on the last one. And that lets me select all of these images. And now that they're selected, and I'm doing this because I know that I want these in my collection. So now that these are selected, I'm going to hit the plus button and I'm going to say Create Collection. And let's call this top 60. You could call it 60 picks, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to put it inside of a collection. And that collection is my assignment 1. And because I know I want all of these images in that collection, I'm going to make sure that the box is checked next to Include Selected Photos. And so then I hit Create. And you can see over here that in my collection set, which is like a box that holds collections, I now have a collection and the icon looks like a little stack of photos and it has 13 images in it. All of those images that I had selected, which are 2 stars or greater. I only have 13 images in here. How do I add more to my collection? So let's go back to our folder and I'm going to just filter by 1 star now. And we can see that there's some images on here that I don't have in that collection that I might want to add because I need more images. So I'm going to look at, I'll say this one with the windows. And you can see I'm just clicking in the image itself and I can just drag it over and drop it on there and it adds it to the collection. I'm going to turn off the 1 star and I'm going to grab this image right here and put it in my collection. And then I realize it's overexposed and I don't really like it and I don't want it in there. So I can select it inside of my collection and hit delete and it goes away. Lightroom doesn't give me any warnings or any dialogues about it because it's not deleting the file. It's just getting rid of the virtual copy of it or the shortcut to it from this collection. So that makes these collections very, very flexible. And then I can move around and do things pretty darn quickly in them. One more way that we can add to a collection is I can right-click on my collection and go down to Set as Target Collection. And now you'll notice that there's a little plus sign that shows up next to my collection right down here, Top 60 Plus. The plus means this is my target collection. So when I go back into my folder, you'll now see that some of my images have a little gray circle in the upper right corner of them. That means they're in the target collection. And if I want to add others to the target collection, all I have to do is click on that little hint of a circle up there, click, and you can see that it turned that into 15 from 14. I'm just going to do a couple more. There's number 16. Let's see, we'll go with number 17 there. And you can see that I can just go through and I can just pick whatever I want to pick, and it will add it to my collection. And so I can just continue to sort through and figure out what things I want to have in my collection. So I'm now up to 20 images. I'm going to go in and look at them, and now I can look at my 20 images and I can really make the decision of which ones, did I make any mistakes? Did I add anything? There's a duplicate here, which is what you're going to have in your collections. That's two different compositions of the same element. So that's probably what yours is going to look like, is a lot of sets of sort of duplicates that we're going to be looking at. But if I look at other ones and I say, oh, maybe I don't want this one of this house, I can click on that little circle and it'll get rid of it from my collection because it's the target. If I turn off the target collection, you can see that all those little gray dots disappear because I now have a different target collection. And if I add it to that, it's going to go to the default collection and just save it to there. So if you use the target collection, you just have to be aware of where you have the target collection set. Another thing that I want to point out about collections is that images can live in as many collections as you want. So for instance, you start a collection that is my favorite photos from photo 123. So if I was to create that, I'd say create collection, favorite 123 photos. I do not want to put it inside of my collection set, and I do not want to include any selected photos. I'm just creating this collection. And now you'll see when I create it that my collection can live outside of a collection set. The only reason we made a collection set for assignment 1 is that we are going to, in the next few videos, end up putting more things inside of that set. But if you just want to have a collection that's your favorite photos from 123, you can create that, and you can actually just make that your target. And then whenever you're looking at something, you're like, oh, I really love this photo, and I always want to remember it from photo 123. I clicked on the dot, and it added it to my favorite 123 photos collection. So I could just go through and go, these are the ones that I really want to remember and to keep and to have. And you can add them to that collection. So you can kind of keep that as a target if you want. And that way, as you're sorting and doing stuff, if you really love an image, you can just add it to that collection. So you'll see in my top 60, I have the church steeples. I have this down view. I have this one with the LED screen going across it and these trees. And in here, I have those same 4 images. They live in another collection, and they're not duplicated. They're just in this other collection. So that is, in a very sort of quick nutshell, Lightroom collections.